What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Fear of God Athletics Model 2 in Night Brown. Now, y'all might be wondering to yourself, Paul, you've already done a video review on these sneakers. Today's video is a 2-month follow-up on that aforementioned video because I've actually gotten to spend a lot of time with them. I've worn them quite a bit, styled them multiple times over the course of the last 2 months, and I've actually taken them out into the hardwood a few times and hooped in them, and I will be discussing how they performed in today's video. But just before we jump into it, I did want to let you know that my watch company, Aura Watch, just released our newest designs known as the 39mm ultra thin, and guys, these are absolutely stunning. I mean, just look at them. Featuring nothing but high quality movements, and of course made from surgical grade stainless steel and priced to be insanely high value. This is a proposition I'm so excited to present to you. Go ahead and check out the links below to these timepieces as well as many others that we offer on the website. And without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the Fear of God Athletics Model 2. The Fear of God Model 2 released on December 4th at a retail price of $180. And that was actually to a lot of people's surprise, considering the fact that Fear of God Essentials saw a pretty solid price jump. These were initially promised to offer a little bit more tech and a little bit more performance. So having them priced at $180, a $70 price downgrade from the predecessors, the Fear of God Model 1, that was a pleasant surprise, and I think a lot of Jerry boys out there would definitely agree with me. Little side note, by the way, either accidental or intentional, these shoes were actually marked down by 40% off on drop day, marking them all the way down to $108. But despite those facts, despite the lower price point, the shoe has gotten quite a bit of slander all throughout the interwebs, with people in the comment section, people reviewing these shoes pretty much across the board. Didn't really have too much positive to say. Now, the intention for today's video is to honestly give the shoe a fair shake despite what is popular. But is the Fear of God Athletics Model 2 actually that bad? Or is this just another example of the sneaker hive mind hopping on the gravy train of another popular opinion? I spent 2 months with these shoes, giving them an honest chance. I threw them on with different styles of outfits. I experimented with them. I wore them as much as I possibly could, and I actually hooped in them, which I will be talking about in today's video. But just to go ahead and start things out, I did want to kind of talk about the sneakers from the perspective of just like a casual wearer. From this perspective, the shoes actually did live up to my initial expectations, because the reality was that overall, the shoe is very, very comfortable. Light strike technology in the midsole allows for ample amounts of energy return. I love how bouncy they feel, and over a long day's wear, you can actually get all 10,000 or 12,000 or whatever's recommended of your daily steps in these shoes, and you will be feeling just fine. The shoe's comfortable. As a daily wear, they are very comfortable. With that to say, a lot of people are asking for specific sizing recommendations because evidently I didn't speak into that enough. What I will say is the shoe does remain pretty narrow, very similar to that of the Fear of God ones. So for that reason, I do recommend taking a half size up if you do fall into that range of having a wider foot. Bear in mind, this is strictly with the intention of wearing them as a casual shoe, because there is more to the story with regard to sizing when it comes to the performance side or the basketball side of things. When it comes to styling these sneakers with certain kinds of bottoms, I do find that they fall between 2 sets of parameters, or kind of like a range, if you will. On one end, you can wear them with athletic outfits, like literally wearing them on the basketball court with like basketball shorts and stuff like that. Whereas on the polar opposite side of the styling range for these shoes, that parameter would look like baggy cargos, baggier trousers that are comprised of materials from anything that includes nylon or even cotton, which in my opinion actually does include the use of denim. for me, I didn't really care to wear denim with these sneakers so much. That's not to say that it looked bad per se, it just wouldn't be my first choice. That's personally how I prefer to style the Fear of God Model 2, but I would be interested in hearing in the comment section down below how you like to style your respective pair. Now, as I mentioned, there is a whole nother side to the sneaker in the form of utility, as it is geared to be a technical basketball shoe. All right, this is real time. I lace these up pretty tight because my foot's moving around a lot in them. Oh wow. Yeah, they're really tight. All right, let's try to do some quick movements here. Jeez. Handle's not that tight in the morning though. The shoes are tight. Shoes are tight, handle not tight. From the perspective of breathability, I did find this sneaker to be pretty awesome. These did very, very well at dissipating heat, something that I personally struggle with. These things also actually perform very, very well as a sneaker that has a good amount of energy return, as I already mentioned. They do feature light strike technology, which allows for the sneaker to give the wearer a sense of explosiveness that is somewhat reminiscent of like a KD13. Those have like a full air zoom unit. As a guard who relies on quickness and explosiveness and a quicker first step, I think the shoe does so well from that front. Now for the traction, this is a bit of a mixed bag because if I'm honest with you, I had really, really high hopes for this radial traction pattern. Which wasn't necessarily meant the few times that I hooped in these shoes. But now with all of that out of the way, I hate to say it, but there is a few negative things that I can't not talk about if I'm gonna be fully transparent in regard to the performance of the shoe, and that begins with the lockdown. The lockdown for the Fear of God Athletics Model 2 it's just not the best. As a matter of fact, initially when I first started kind of breaking them in, the shoe just popped off of my foot. After that, I did go ahead and tie these very, very tightly, and despite that fact, when I was hooping in them, I didn't really have a sense of like peace of mind that myself and the shoe were like one, an attribute that I personally hold very, very high regard towards, because as I mentioned, as a shorter, kind of quicker guard, I need to be like really, really locked down in my shoes. And the entire time that I was like playing games and hooping in these, I had in the back of my mind the potential of them kind of like popping off, and my foot was very, very loose in them, and there's no way I could have gone a half size down in the shoe. That really is my only critique about the shoe as like a performance basketball shoe. Something that I did notice that I don't find to be kind of like a make or break or even that important, is that the shoes do show some pretty significant signs of wear even after first use. Like I said, that's not a big deal. I was actually not even gonna mention that, but to some people that might be important. But yeah, man, like I said, there are two facets to the sneaker. I would say I would recommend this shoe as a lifestyle shoe for sure. It is a very comfortable shoe. It looks fantastic on the toe. It is minimalist in nature. The color is very fire, and more colors are coming down the pipeline. Now on the other side of utilization, you have the basketball element. I have to say, I can't give my personal recommendation for this shoe as a sneaker that I would say like, yeah, this is a shoe that I'm going to be excited to hoop. There are a ton of fantastic basketball shoes out there, many competitors, and at that premium price point of $180, there are a myriad of other sneakers that I would go to over these. I don't know, man, like I know this is a totally subjective matter, and maybe you as a hooper might like this shoe as a basketball shoe, but yeah, for me, my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, and this is a totally subjective matter from hooper to hooper, I can't recommend the shoe as a basketball shoe. I feel bad, man, because my intention isn't to kind of grill this shoe. Like I said, this is a good lifestyle shoe. It's just not a shoe that I'd go to for basketball, and I would be doing you guys a true disservice if I wasn't to be as honest as possible. And like I said, all hoopers have different preferences for basketball shoes, so take that into account. But yes, that is going to do it for today's video. But I pose the question off to you. What do y'all think about the Fear of God Athletics Model 2? Is the hate actually warranted? I personally don't think so whatsoever. I don't think it's justified because I genuinely don't think it's a bad shoe. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good shoe. I know I'm not the only person that thinks this, so go ahead and make your comments known below. As always, guys, I'd like to thank you so much for continuing to support me here on the channel as well as with my products. I truly consider it an immense privilege to get to serve you through these two avenues. I'll catch you again in the next upload. Peace and be blessed.